This is Providence Television International, the game changer. Stand by for the next program.
Welcome to the interview segment of the Morning Drive on Providence Television International. With me in the studio this morning, Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
And we will be looking at a trendy topic, how to improve food security. What are the challenges as regards food security in this country?
Well, with my vast knowledge of agriculture, we know that if there's no food security, a nation loses its sovereignty. What that means, you are going to depend on foreign countries. And they have a way of bringing down their policies down your neck, okay? But look at the history of countries around the world that have made it through mass production of food. China, for example, India, Thailand. We can go on and on and on. Food security is important. I mean, I think Nigeria has come to a point where we should even begin to export food in large quantities. But rather, we are thinking of importing food. And yet, it's an agrarian country, by the way. It's a huge agrarian country. And God has blessed us with good weather and good soil. Okay, I mean, take Benin, for instance. Along the road, you see grasses and things growing up. Nobody planted them. They're just growing on their own. Okay? In the north, which is mostly arid, you still have things growing there. Although these things can be aided by way of irrigation and stuff like that. But generally speaking, I think we must look at the issue of aids to our farmers.
Okay.
Yes. Large-scale support for farmers. And one of the ways is to give them good credit facilities, loans that are very accessible. In fact, I should think that loans to farmers should be in the range of 1% of interest. That is almost interest-free. And so it will be easy for them to pay back. Okay? The central bank should be able to do this because actually it's one of its duties to be able to give out loans through the banks, through the commercial banks. Okay. That is one. Two, we must make room for, as a temporary measure, let's open the borders so that food can come in. And later on, we can now switch position and do what is right. In addition to that, we must ensure that banditry becomes a thing of the past. We have lost a lot of farmland to banditry activities, particularly in the Middle Belt, which used to be the food basket of this nation. If you go there now, nothing is happening because the bandits have taken over. So we must address the issue of banditry, kidnapping and all sorts, to be able to encourage farmers to go back to their farms. Nigerians are hardworking people, particularly when farming is concerned. They are hardworking people, particularly the women. They farm a lot. Even in Delta State here, it is women who farm, and they do it with all their hearts. They go to the farm and they do it very, very tenaciously. So we must encourage them. Keep the bandits away. Let the farmers come back to the threshold, and you discover that the yields will be more. Then we must encourage this has to do with science now, the research institutions or research institutes. There must be new varieties open to us, new varieties of cassava, of plantain, staple food items, for example, so that farmers can access them. It's happening already with oil palm. If you go to NIFO now, or even Okomu here, there are varieties that can be harvested within 2-3 years. In those days, it used to be about 7. I'm talking like this because, I have a very good knowledge of agriculture. We did all of that while we were in secondary school in those days. But we must encourage that. And then, of course, we must encourage what we call agri settlements. Yes, a typical example is Okomu. For example, agri settlements can be built all over the country. And what is an agri settlement? There you have farmers domiciled within the community. All that they are doing is to farm. You have tractors, you have all sorts of things. If you go to Okomo, I'm not advertising Okomo, but I've been there. I mean, I've done one or two things for them. It's a typical agric settlement, okay? And the people there don't want to come to town because they have everything. They have schools, they have facilities for leisure, they have churches, all sorts. At a point in time, they were even thinking of having an airstrip. That's a typical farm settlement. And there you have all kinds of crops. Some 3-4 months you're harvesting. Like cassava, for instance. New variety of cassava you can harvest now within 3 months, okay? And there should be new trends in farming. Luckily, we have a program. We're so keen to it. New trends in farming. It doesn't come up on this station. So that farmers can learn one or two techniques in farming. And, of course, we must talk about implements. Yes. The duties, excise duties on farm implements must be reduced to nothing. In other words, I'm talking about tractors and also inputs. In aid of farming in this country, they must be reduced to nothing. I mean, such excise duties must be reduced to nothing so that people can access them.
Okay.
Right. So that's one of the ways out.
If you remember, some time ago in the time of Tai Solarin, there was the issue of the People's Bank that came up. Would you advocate such kind of policies or such kind of schemes to come up again?
Why not? We can give it another coloration. It's a question of semantics and maybe nomenclature. But we should have agric development banks.
Okay.
For instance, we should stand on its own. You mentioned Tai Solarin. That was for the common people, not necessarily for farmers. But I'm advocating one that's essentially made for farming. Yes. Okay. And this is important. Nigerians must be encouraged to go into what we call subsistence farming.
Okay.
You know, and I'm happy that a lot of people are doing that now. I'm doing that in my homestead, for instance. And what is subsistence farming all about? Within your vicinity, you can grow things. If you have a fairly large compound, you can grow things for you to eat. Nigerians must grow what they eat and eat what they grow. That's the principle, and that principle is eternal. Okay? Now, if you have a fairly large compound, there you grow cassava, 3-4 months you're harvesting. You can grow plantain, okay? 5 months or thereabout you're harvesting. You can grow vegetables. Vegetables, in fact, 2 months. You're harvesting, 2-3 months you're harvesting. They're always there in any case. And all year round, they are there. So you can have things like cocoyam, all within your homestead. Obasanjo, was it Obasanjo now? Operation Feed the Nation? I think it was Obasanjo. Yes, but Shagari came and introduced the Green Revolution. I still remember very well. But Obasanjo, during Obasanjo's time, I think it worked. Operation Feed the Nation. People were now going to this subsistence farming without looking at their status. Just grow things. Okay? The other day, I was impressed. The First Lady, Remi Tinubu, I don't know if it was in Aso Rock or in Lagos, she was in the garden watering vegetables and things like that. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. That is what we call subsistence farming. Just to feed your family. They can even add fish farming. Yes. You don't need to have a large expanse of land, to do fish farming. You can have a big bowl, and tilapia, or rather catfish, it's the thing in vogue now. You can grow it right from the infancy stage. Within 6 months, they are ready for the table. 6 months. But in doing that, in fish farming, for instance, government should try as much as possible to bring the prices of feeds
down.
Yes, down considerably, because feeds are very expensive now. That is why, for instance, a lot of people are running away from fish farming. The feeds are expensive. Government can do well to bring these feeds down and to encourage local production of feeds, animal feeds, and all of that. Yeah, that's a way out. But I think subsistence farming can do well to also assist with the food production thing we are talking about.
All right, I want us to harp a little more on security, because you mentioned banditry, yes, as one of those issues militating against. And so, as regards security, there's been this continuous fight against banditry. Do you see in sight the issue of banditry ending soon?
It's just the willpower on the side of government, okay? On the side of government. Government, I mean, if they have the will and the equipment, they should fight banditry to a standstill. But is there the will? Yes. And is there the technical know-how? People have said that, look, you must, it's not a question of going headlong with it. We've gone past that stage in this day and age. We've gone past that because they need to be attacked even before their plans are hatched. And that depends on a lot of intelligence. Intelligence network must be heightened. And year out, we are voting billions of money into equipment and ammunition and things. But that's not enough. We must create room for intelligence. Intelligence also means that we must have a sufficient number of drones, so that we can get to know where they are. They are not ghosts, by the way. These bandits we are talking about, they are not ghosts. And if it is known that they are sponsored, go after their sponsors. How many times, if we may ask this, bandits are caught, they are interrogated, okay?
And we hear nothing.
And we hear nothing anymore.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. They must tell government who their sponsors are. At a point in time, even the sitting governor was said to be one of the sponsors. We have not heard anything about that. So we can't be dancing in circles, because as long as banditry is in this country, we cannot.
Okay.
I keep talking about Burkina Faso. They have gotten a lot of ammunition now to drive away the people from the Sahel region.
Yes.
There's a collaboration between Burkina Faso, Niger, and one other country. I think it's Mali. There's a collaboration between these three, Sahel countries, and they are driving away the bandits. Okay, they are driving them away, and we are keeping them. There's a problem. So we must drive them back. They don't belong to this client anyway. So we must drive them out of our jurisdiction.
All right. Somebody once made mention that everything in Nigeria is also about subsidy. The distribution or sales of fertilizer to farmers, should it be subsidized?
Those are inputs. I mean, fertilizers are an input. Just as you have implements, they are major input. We don't need fertilizers in this part of the country, in the south. Because the vegetation is good, the soil is good. It's in the arid areas in the north that we need more fertilizers. Because sometimes there's drought. And you need to irrigate and to apply fertilizers. Fertilizers, yes, they are good. Yes, we can subsidize fertilizers. All right? And I think government did it before. I can't remember the administration now, but it was happening. But again, the issue of corruption and things.
Yes.
You want to give out. They did not get to the people who needed them. These fertilizers, they did not get to the people. But I'm happy though that the facility in Lagos owned by Dangote, it can produce fertilizers. Yes, that facility there can produce almost 1,000 products, not just PMS. We're talking about diesel and all that. He said it himself. So it's just a question of encouraging him and a few other manufacturers. Okay, there is no reason why we should be importing fertilizers. No earthly reason, because we have enough resources in this country to be able to put fertilizers at the beck and call of farmers who need them.
All right.
Yes.
And so just, I'll take this last question. During Buhari's time, he closed the borders. He said no importation. You farm yourself. Would you take this stand if you were the president of this country as regards agricultural development in the country? I
would tackle, first of all, that was a wrong procedure. I would tackle security first. Because even while the borders were closed, insecurity was going on.
Okay.
Yes. Our farmers, may God bless them, those wonderful ladies in the Middle Belt, they were driven away from their farm. They were raped in some cases. The whole farms were pillaged. So if you don't address that, how can you close the borders? Address the issue of security. Security is the main issue when it comes to things like this. Once you put your hand on the ability to wipe away banditry, food security, or rather, food farming will come up most invariably.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are not doing that.
Okay.
We are not doing that, and that is creating ripple effects. In fact, it's even a contradiction. You are closing borders, your farming is not going on within the country. So that is why we have this problem. Coupled with that, you must fix the roads. road infrastructure, because these food items must come from the interior anyway. You know how long it takes for a trailer from Kogi, for instance, or from Benue to get to a place like Benin. Good road, 6-7 hours, but with bad roads, almost 2 days. Yes.
And the perishable goods?
Perishable. Tomatoes, for instance, perishable. Even cattle, some of them die of dehydration and things like that. And, because the cows are very feeble. Though they are big, they are very feeble. If you deprive them of water for for a long time, they die off very quickly. So you must fix the roads. These are the peripherals which you must look at when we want to talk about increase in food production. We must look at all the, it's a synthesis really. We must look at them holistically to be sure that they are all in tandem. You cannot break the chain. It's a circle. Once you break the chain somewhere, the thing collapses. And that's what is happening now in this country. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Well, viewers out there, we've come to the end of the interview session and invariably the end of the morning drive on Providence Television International. I would always say thank you, because if not for you, we will not be here. For those of you that are joining for the first time, and for those of you who do not still know, to get Providence Television on YouTube, just simply go to YouTube, type in Providence Television International, and like my boss would always say, you are good to go. Well, once again, thanks for watching. Please stay tuned. We have the program coming up later today, Thoughts and Visions of Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. We'll be discussing a very, very interesting topic, removing sentiments from governments, and I know you'll be looking forward to that, so please stay tuned.
This is Providence Television International, the toast of today's television viewers. Don't be left out.